Welcome to the Jay Graves Report College Football Weekly Wrap-Up Week 3. Y'all know how we get it in, so let's get it in. Wrapping up the top 5 ball games of the weekend, so let's get right to it. Number 16, UCLA goes to number 23, Nebraska. Now, I picked Nebraska to win this ball game because Lincoln Memorial Stadium is one of the most difficult places to play in the world. 91,000 strong. Nebraska came out and jumped all over the Bruins. Had them down 21-3. Next thing you know, UCLA came out, jumped out the birthday cake on these boys, beat them 41-21. From this day forward, the defense of Nebraska should never be known as the black shirts. From now on, these boys are known as the pink shirts because they can't hold water, giving up tall orders every weekend. Let's move on to the next ball game. Number 7, Louisville, goes down to Lexington, Kentucky, and plays the bottom feeders of the SEC, the Catfish, the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, they shouldn't even call them the Wildcats anymore, bruh. They ought to call them the Felines. That's what the Kentucky Felines. These duns are terrible. Stop talking to me about top to bottom. The SEC is strong. You got 3 or 4 teams every year that are better than everybody. But you got 14 teams in the conference. So stop talking to me about duns like Kentucky being good because they're in the SEC. They ought to be in the Cardinal League or something. They're horrible. Now, Teddy Bridgewater came in and put on the Teddy Bridgewater show, put up 250 yards and a touchdown. Just call him Teddy Touchdown from now on, Playboy. That's what you need to do. Now, Sonoris Perry came out there, had 11 carries for 100 yards. This done averaged 9.1 yards a carry on what you call the SEC. Come on now. Let's move on to the next ball game. Tennessee goes to Eugene, Oregon to play the Parliament Funkadelic, the number 2 Parliament Funkadelic. Now, I'm telling you, they got the brakes beat off of them out here, 59-14. Was no surprise, because once again, Tennessee is a bottom feeder as well of the SEC. Matter of fact, they be a bottom feeder in most conferences. So don't give me the whole SEC talk. In most conferences, they be a bottom feeder. Now, Marcus Mariota put up 456 yards and 4 touchdowns. They beat these boys so bad that Tennessee got out of town and didn't even put Smokey back in the doggone truck. He running around out in Eugene, Oregon right now looking for a home. He out in the homeless shelter. Come on now. Don't talk to me about the SEC. Let's move on to the next ball game. Now, number 19, Washington, goes to Chicago and plays Illinois, the Big Ten's Illinois. Beat them 34-14. Now, 34-24. Now, I will say this. I picked Washington to win this game just because Illinois is Illinois. It is what it is. But you got to remember, Washington hadn't won a ball game outside of the Pac-12 since 2007 on the road. That's dumb. But they went out there. We knew that Illinois was going to be who they are. So it is what it is. Let's move to the next ball game, to the ball game that everybody wants to talk about. Number 1, Alabama, goes to number 6, Texas A&M, and plays at Kyle Field in front of 88,000. Now, one of the most difficult places in America to play. I picked Texas A&M, so I got to eat crow. But I'm going to tell you this. You cannot make mistakes against the best team in the country because Johnny Football and company jumped on these boys, had them down 14-0. Matter of fact, it was 14-7, and old Johnny Football started throwing up jump, and he hit a couple times. You remember when he got away from the defensive tackle, spin around, it was been on Sports Center all week. He throws up some jump, ill-advised pass, but old boy came down with it. He gets on the 4-yard line and didn't listen to the stop me button or the stop me horn. Y'all know the same horn, the horn that's in the Nissan commercial that told old boy to quit giving too much dap. The same horn that told old boy to put his tongue back in his mouth because she already kissed you. The same horn that told him not to put the cologne in his crouch. That horn was going off, and old Johnny Football did not listen to it, and Alabama just sucker punched him and picked it off in the end zone. Next thing you know, they down 35-14, and they in trouble. Now, I will say this. You can't hate on Johnny Football because this does still put up 464 yards in the air and 5 touchdowns and added another 100 on the ground. That was the second most yards in SEC history behind the he had 562 yards total behind the second. That's the second ever. Guess who did the first ever? Johnny Football against La Tech last year. He put up 576. But this was the best defense in the country. Johnny, hey, you can holler at him, you can hate on him, treat him like LeBron if you want to, bruh. But you gotta respect this game. Hate on him, but you gotta respect this game. Now, keep up with the hot joints. This is your man Jay Graves Report at the JayGravesReport.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter at JayGravesReport and holla at your